Welcome to TAM-Retail's mini demonstration series. In today's session, we will cover performing a physical inventory. Let's go ahead and share the application. Now in TAM Office, we're able to perform a number of functions relating to physical inventory. But before we start, I want to point out where in the menu you'd find it. In Inventory Management under Inventory Counts, that's where the capabilities are shown. There's two options there, a Prepare for Count and an Update SKU Count. Now, the first thing that I want to talk about is generally how TAM performs a physical inventory or actually posts the variances. This is very different than some of our competitors. We're able to post variances in inventory even a number of days after completing the physical inventory. There's typically a number of steps involved in doing a physical inventory: preparing for the count, performing the count, entering in or updating your quantities, and that can be eliminated with handheld devices today, but that's still a step of getting those quantities that you've counted into the system. Then auditing those quantities, and then making any necessary changes or recounts if you see variances that don't make sense, and then posting the inventory. Those 5 steps in most systems have to be completed all in one consecutive space of time, because essentially many other systems overwrite the quantity field and don't post a separate variance capability. TAM does, however, post a variance capability, so the nice news here is all you have to do is prepare for the count, complete the count, and that's the only time for those 2 steps that you have to have your inventory quarantined. After the count is complete, you can begin selling and receiving merchandise and operating normally while you're performing the last 3 steps of getting the numbers in, auditing those numbers, and then posting the variance. Also, this allows you a number of days to do it, so you don't have to be up for 24 hours straight if you're doing your own count. First, let's talk about preparing for a count. The prepare for count step is the reason why TAM can post a variance. This step allows us to do both cycle or full store counts. And when I say a cycle count, I mean a portion of the store. So we can count a particular vendor or category or department using our filter control. A lot of other systems don't allow that. They make you do a count for the whole store, and that can be a little bit overwhelming if you're just trying to do a quick cycle count in a certain area because you're concerned there may be some shrinkage. I'm going to go ahead and do this this count by vendor, and I'm going to do it for store 1, my main store. So let's go ahead and take a look at that filter. Okay, we'll do tie ink. That's one that I use in all the demos here. All right, now we have an option to print or not print a count sheet. If you're doing a cycle count and you're not using a handheld device, or you don't want to write down each SKU number that you count on a notepad or something like that, or if you're not using a handheld device, then you're able to print a count sheet and essentially write your counts down on that sheet. Now, using a count sheet or a piece of paper or something like that is perfectly fine. But if you are counting with a handheld device or any type of scannable device, then you can really go from one end of the store to the next, and TAM takes care of everything. So if you have an item in display in the front window, and if you have one in the warehouse, and then you have it in stock on the floor, you can actually count from one end of the store to the other very quickly and complete the count without worrying about adding numbers together. If you are doing it on a handwritten sheet, then you would need to, if you counted the first one in the display, that's 1. When you count 2 more, you got to find it, and you got to add the 2 to the 1, making it 3. This can lead to some errors, so again, there's some benefit to that. Again, you don't have to produce a count sheet, and I'm not going to this time because I'm going to be using a handheld device. We can also indicate if we were printing a count sheet, what order that would be in. Now, we have the capability to email this count sheet to one of our remote stores if we want them to perform the store, or we can just go ahead and say, okay. Now, I'm not printing a count sheet, so it's all right. A count sheet has been created, count sheet number 71 per my request. This is the number that I'll enter into the handheld device to properly sync up the items I count with the items that are being counted or part of my count sheet. Now, one of the things that did, that prepare for count step, even though I didn't print a count sheet, is it took a picture of the inventory at that moment in time. So it knows how many are on hand at this moment. Preparing for a count should be done just prior to you counting. It should never be done in advance or anything like that to try to save time, because that picture it takes is going to be what it compares your count to calculate the variance. At this point, then we can go out and count our inventory. And remember, I talked about a number of different ways we can do that. We can do it with a handheld wireless device. We have all kinds of handheld link option capabilities that are available, many different devices that we support. And we can merge from those older devices, as well as we can import or manually enter them, one SKU at a time through this process. Now, Handheld Link is an additional option in TAM, so if you're interested in doing handheld type stuff for physical inventory, please feel free to talk with your account rep about that. So let's pretend I'm using a handheld device. I've taken my symbol MC75 out on the floor. I'm scanning the items that I'm counting. It'll tell me if I'm counting an item that's not on the count sheet. It'll show me the quantity that I have. It's going to allow me to make changes to that count. It's a very good way to perform a count in half the time with half the people. Once I'm done counting my items, they're already preloaded in for me. So they're already in there. That step is done automatically if we're using Handheld Link. Saves a lot of time and keeps things accurate. And it doesn't matter if I'm doing a whole store count or a cycle count. Once I've done that count, then I'm able to go into the system under the inventory counts area and pull up update account. And I can grab that count number 71. I hit enter. And you'll notice that my counts are all matching. Now, if for some reason I didn't count these, which I shouldn't, they're negative, I happen to have 10 of those, I'm able to see that variance right away. So let's pretend that when I was counting with the scanner, it did that. So this actual count is what the scanner has counted or you have counted and entered into the system. If you are doing a hand count where you're writing it down on a count sheet or something, you would fill in these quantities just as I've done there on the various ones. Let's say that this, and that created a negative variance, but let's say we found 53 of these, so this is going to actually create a positive variance. It doesn't make any difference. You can go down through all the items that need to be counted, double check their quantities. So once you've entered all this in, then you're able to audit that to the screen or to a piece of paper. It's not a problem, and it's going to allow us to produce that audit form automatically. Once we've audited everything and we've looked for inconsistent quantities, we know where we want to be, then we're able to post the variance at this time. Now, when I post, remember, it doesn't have to be done right away. You have as much time as you want. A store can be selling and receiving because it's comparing the CPU on hand to not the actual CPU on hand, but to the picture it took at the time you prepared for the count. So we can take a couple days to audit and clear this inventory. Of course, this is a small inventory. I wouldn't need that much time. And when I'm ready to post those variances, I simply click Post. It'll ask me for the time frame that I'd like to apply it into. And this is good for a year end or the end of a physical period where you've done the count on the 31st of December, but it takes you till about January 3rd to get it all audited and ready to post. TAM will allow you to back post right into December and recalculate going forward. Very clean, very accurate. This is what a lot of inventory systems don't have, and TAM does allow that. Once we click Post, then it will produce the report for that, so we're going to get a variance report. But don't forget, we can also produce a variance report in TAM through the reporting area called SKU History. So it's very easy for us to go in and say, I want to see any physical inventory adjustments for this week, this month, whatever, and we can do adjustments. And we can group it and report it however we'd like. It's very easy for us to preview that. We'll type in our location. It's our main store. And there's the adjustments that we made, shown right there, extended out fully. So we've got a great variance report with extended cost in retail. Obviously, the purpose for running a physical inventory is so that you can get an accurate valuation. Of course, TAM keeps a perpetual valuation on your items. So at any time, you can go in and print an inventory valuation report, and you can do it based on three methods: last in, first out, so LIFO or FIFO or average. I'm going to do last in, first out. I can organize it. I can print subtotals or not. I'm just going to do subtotals by department. Now let's just do the detail report. What the heck? And we go to the main store, and we'll go ahead and preview our valuation, and it's going to quickly pull up all the items and values for each of our areas. Okay, that kind of wraps up the demonstration on performing a physical inventory. Let me return back to the meeting center. I want to thank you for attending and remind you that if you need any more information or would like a live demonstration, please feel free to contact your account rep or feel free to email us at the email address and phone number shown here. Thank you again for attending. Have a great day.